Yeah. This is where I get in trouble at because like I sort of challenge them in a sense. You know what I mean? And it's not in a bad way. It's because I done read the same thing you done read.
Right.
So if I read it and I may interpret it one way with another scripture or another scripture.
Right. It's contradicting itself, right?
Not contradicting it, not contradicting itself, but scripture supports scripture. My whole vision for my clothing line is it's a brand, but at the same time, it's pushing God back into the community. Because a lot of times people talk about how church is not there, church don't do this, church don't do that. So with my brand, I want to take certain proceeds, just say off of every shirt that's sold, $1, $2 or whatever, and I want to give that back to different organizations month by month.
Okay.
You feel what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Just so people can start seeing, okay, they're more than just a clothing line that's taken.
Right.
Now they giving back. You know what I'm saying? We trying to leave a legacy for the kids or whatever. You feel what I'm saying? Or just build something.
That's good. What's your legacy for your kids?
I just want them to do better than what I did. You know what I mean?
Would you say that's pretty easy? Would you say that is?
I'm not.
Or would you say it's tough? Like, because so when you say better than what you did, right? So I'm thinking of the projects, right? That's the first thing that come to mind for me. So you want to create an atmosphere for your kids, a community, a neighborhood where you like, man, you really don't got too much concerns around here like I did, right?
Right.
So that's easy to put your kids in a situation like that, in my eyes.
Right. Okay.
Right.
Okay.
But like, far as that legacy, what is it? What are we leaving assets for these kids? Are they gonna take over Kingdom Believers and they gonna run with that? Like, what's the plan for them? What's that?
That would be the legacy. Doing that, because that was my whole vision of the whole Kingdom Believers clothing, the whole brand. You know what I mean? Starting a business is to do something to leave for them.
Got you.
You feel what I'm saying? Where they don't have to, struggle like I did or like we did coming up. You know what I mean? Syrup sandwiches, applesauce sandwiches, like you said, everybody got clothing brands or whatever. But I look at it like this, you got Burger King, you got McDonald's, you got Wendy's, you got Popeyes, you know what I mean? You got Chick-fil-A. They might all be on the same block.
Absolutely.
But everybody got their lane. Everybody got their niche of where they're at or what they, known for selling.
Yeah.
You feel what I'm saying?
I do.
So when it come to me, I know what my brand is. So I'm not jumping into nobody else's lane.
Hey, thank y'all for tuning in. You know what I mean? It's another great night. Let's talk about it with Kenny Harris. And our special guest for the evening is Mr. Orlando Foreman. Boom. My brother, how you doing?
I'm blessed by the best, you know what I mean? I'm glad to be in your company, my brother.
I hear that. And you looking smooth as always.
I got to keep up with you. It's a hard thing to do.
Nah, man, I ain't trying to hear that. Man, first and foremost, all right, the viewers probably looking like, okay, first person in the wheelchair. How'd you get there? Give us a story.
Yeah, my name is Orlando Foreman. At one point in time in my life, I used to run the streets. Unfortunately, the streets caught up with me in 1995, and I was shot by the police, paralyzed, went into feds and did 23 straight years. Mercy of the God, I was released in 2018, actually, I'm sorry. I was ready to say, hold up. What happened, I'm missing years. What happened, I'm missing years. I was released in 2018 after serving 23 straight years. So I've just been home since then, man, trying to enjoy life.
Okay, so you were shot by the police. Now, did you just shoot at the cops? Or you just on some old wild cowboy stuff?
I was, like I said, I was in the streets real heavy. I wasn't one of those who was faking about if I'm carrying a gun that I only shoot the brothers. Okay. So when the police rolled down to me, I was facing life in prison, and I had from previous. This was my third incarceration, unfortunately. I spent over 36 years of my life in prison. 2 prior bank robberies and things of that nature. I robbed armored trucks and things of that nature. Yeah. So I was kind of a bad boy at one time, and it's crazy because I wasn't raised that way. Came from a good family, East Side. Mother worked for General Motors. My pop was an electrician. Played college basketball, but there's a formula. Decisions, choices, decisions, and consequences. Right. And if you don't follow that right formula, your life can go to the left. And unfortunately, I allowed my life to go to the left, but now it's to the right.
Okay, so, all right, you grew up with a decent family. Everything was good at home. Mom and pop together, they working, got careers. How did you get off track with that formula? Like, what drove you left instead of right when you had everything in front of you?
I used to live in New York, and most of my family is from New York. So I had that street element, and I had some family members that were in the streets real heavy in the drug trade and things of that nature. And then I got caught up with peer pressure, wanting to be something I really wasn't. And then living in New York, everything is fast forward. So when I'm in that environment, it's just, and at the time also, I had a coke habit. I used to sniff cocaine.
Okay.
Yeah, and that led to it. I had a cousin, and God rest his soul, he passed last year, who I looked up to so much. And
now, was that the cousin that was doing coke too?
Yes, Latif. Yes, my cousin Latif.
Okay.
And unfortunately, I got caught up with Latif, and I caught up trying to be something I wasn't and following his footsteps.
Got you.
And the peer pressure. And, you know, that's what I talk to a lot of young brothers and sisters about, peer pressure. Like, man, be your own person.
Okay.
You know, because it's easy to follow.
Right.
You know?
So your whole image was created behind Big Cuz.
Yeah, trying to make Big Cuz think that I was that man.
Yeah, got you.
You know,
okay.
And unfortunately, I veered off from Big Cuz because Big Cuz got knocked off. But now I'm all the way out.
Right.
Wasn't stopping, you know what I mean? And so I kept it going, and then I ended up getting busted a few different times and different things. And this
so was it always robbery when you was getting busted, or was it playing with them?
Actually,
them
yeah, I'm always catching, always been handling burners, you know what I mean, unfortunately. But yeah, mostly robbery. I never was a corner store robber. I'm a bank robber and armored trucks, yes. That was my whole MO.
Okay.
Yeah.
Right. Unusual suspects like cat.
How about that?
Yeah.
You know, now I'm gonna keep it 100. I ain't beating my chest for it because I paid the price for it.
Gotcha.
You know, but that's just was my thing. Drug dealing. I mean, I've sold drugs, but that just never was my thing.
Gotcha.
You know, so unfortunately, came home in 1995. Like I said, after doing 10 years, I got into a situation where I thought I was going back for the rest of my life.
So you did 10?
10 years, yeah, from 85 to 95, and had been in prior to that from 83 to 85.
Wow.
I didn't have much time on the street.
Right.
You know, and so when I got put in that situation, I guess I could say I panicked. I guess I said that I always said that I wasn't going back to jail. I had that mentality, but I meant it. And I ended up having to grab the hostage. And when the police had me blocked in on Governor Prince, there was just no way out, I saw. And I realized, like, they're going to have to kill me. And I opened up fire on them, and they hit me 5 times, and the rest is history. Woke up 2 months out of a coma, paralyzed, didn't even know I was paralyzed.
Wow.
Yeah. Handcuffed to a bed.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you woke up like, where the hell am I at? And
exactly. And it was crazy because when I woke up, it didn't really hit me what the totality of what had happened. And as it's slowly coming to me, I'm moving my hand. I got the IVs all up in me, and I'm moving my hand. I'm like, what the heck I'm doing handcuffed? And now the night is coming back. I'm like, whoa, you ain't dead. Because I figured it was going to kill me.
Okay, you was ready to go
suicide
out
by police.
Glory.
Suicide by police, yeah.
Okay, so that's a real thing. Cats is out there, like, they looking for that.
Yeah, and I woke up and didn't even know I was paralyzed. And then when the doctor came in and, you know, he asked me my name to make sure my mental, faculties was there. We talked and things of that nature, and he had me doing these little things, like kept feeling. He said, "Can you feel this?" I'm like, "No." So as he's moving around the bed, I'm not even paying no mind because I got the sheet on me.
Yeah.
And he said, "Can you feel this?" I'm like, "Nah, I can't really feel it." So now he's at the feet, and he's got the cover back. So, "Can you feel this?" And I said, "Nah." And he said, "You can't feel it," he said, "because you was paralyzed instantly." And it hit me right there. I'm like, paralyzed? No wonder I can't move. And it was like, I don't even know how they even hit me, to be honest. I think it took a while for that to really sink in. You know what I mean? Or to be honest, I think I was at my lowest point when it really sunk in that I was paralyzed and what being a paraplegic entailed. And man, it's not a beautiful life.
Okay,
you know what I mean?
Before we get into the paraplegic, I'm going to backtrack. So when you went to jail from 83 to 85, was you like, all right, fuck it. They gave me a deuce, so it's on when I get back home.
Yeah, I was young at the time. I was in my early 20s, Ken, and I went to, that's when it was Club Fed.
Okay.
I'm up there with the tennis courts, and I'm up there with the mob dudes, the dudes that be getting money.
Yeah.
And they like me because I'm athletic.
Got you.
And they said you seem like a little smooth brother, you kind of intelligent. So I'm watching them taking games, so it's not sinking into me like to leave crime alone.
Yeah.
And unfortunately in life, sometimes it takes you to get knocked down quite a few times before you realize I'm not a good fighter. I'm real talk, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And so it's that mentality, and that's what I tell a lot of young brothers, like, don't become a punching bag to the incarceration, brother.
Right.
Let that one hit be that hit that knocked you out.
I got you. Yeah.
Because we end up, man, recidivism is crazy. You know, it's like a revolving doors.
Absolutely.
And you see all these young African-American brothers coming into prison, man.
Yeah.
And it's like over and over, and it's a cycle, and we destroying not only ourselves, we're destroying our families, our children, our friends, and we destroying society on a whole.
Yeah, absolutely.
Because how can we be productive?
You can't.
And we can't.
You're in the bank.
Yeah, we robbing ourselves, and like we got so much more to life to live, man. We just got to be strong enough to try to achieve these things.
Gotcha.
You know, I mean, it's crazy. Like when I met you and Brother Brian, you know, and to see y'all vibe and energy and what you were doing out in the street, man. Like I took my hat off 1,000 times for you brothers, man,
Right.
because I was taking mental notes. Like these brothers is putting it in. They putting that work in the streets trying to help young brothers.
Right.
And man, it can't be no better than that, man.
Right.
Because unfortunately, so many young brothers need assistance. They don't have anybody to talk to. They don't have anybody to help guide them. And without the proper guidance, Kenny, you know, sometimes we gonna be like bumper cars, hitting in the walls and bouncing and all around, and it's not a good look, man.
Okay, so I appreciate that too. Thank you very much for the compliment. But all right, so 85, you said, fuck it, they like me in here. It's club fed. I'm gonna get back out. I'm gonna get busy, right?
Cold-blooded, said I was gonna get some money.
Right. Okay. So you said you're gonna get some money, get back to grabbing the burners,
right?
And you out here robbing everything moving.
Right.
Only the big boy toys, though, right?
Yeah, no doubt.
Banks and
yeah.
armored trucks. And
it
all
had a
that.
good run for a quick second. I'm gonna say a quick second. You know, it had a little Range Rover, condo, and everything.
Yeah.
Little money and stats, but like that life don't last long. You know what I mean? All it takes is that one. You know what I mean? And you right back at it.
So during this time, right? Because you do your first little 2-year joint, bam. It's like when you got out, you started back terrorizing the banks and armored trucks, right? Did you ever think about what if I get caught again, or that was just like you still was young?
You know,
and like,
because I was still young, that thought never crossed my mind. But you know, when you're a criminal or doing criminal activity, you don't think about getting busted for the most part.
right?
That it's there, but you don't put much in it. You always think about how I can get away.
Gotcha.
And so I didn't give much thought to that. I'm like, I'm on a mission.
Okay, right.
And I kept seeing my mission progress.
Oh, because you kept winning.
Of course, I was winning for a second.
Yeah.
Notice I said second.
Yeah.
But then I got that Mike Tyson knockout.
Yeah, and they gave
You
you
know
a
what I
dime.
mean? Yeah, and they gave me that dime, and I went in pumping weights. Like I went in, I was like 180. I come home like a 195, a little swole up, like you know what I mean? And you know what I mean? Because you lift the whole gym. But you know what I mean? And like I said, I was always playing sports and everything. But I came home and I still had that mentality, like I got to get some money.
Gotcha.
And that was the worst thing that I had going for me, not realizing it, you know, then. But you know, that was my mentality, and I think I had always told brothers, I said, I ain't never coming back to prison.
So all right, you on that 10-year bid, you got it. You got caught robbing the bank?
No.
Or you just got caught with some
Actually, I got caught with the money. I had already robbed on my joint. I had the most freak accident getting busted. I got busted by an off-duty officer who just happened to peep me with a duffel bag with money in it with rappers on it. And it was the most craziest thing. It was stupid. At the time, I was still getting high at the time. And I was shopping up the Gallery Mall on my way to New York to get a package. Here's my plan. How can I flip this money? I'm going to get me a couple keys, flip him, turn Delaware out, get out the game. But it doesn't work like that.
Wow.
You know, it doesn't work that way.
So you was in the mall and
yeah,
your bag
because
was like halfway
I had
open?
right. Because I had went there making a purchase and had all these rappers in there, not even peeping this guy. So when I went to go, you know, because who walks around with rappers on money?
Yeah, right.
And so my luck, off-duty FBI, so what he does is he gets the money, retrieves it back, and gets the serial number. When they call the serial number, they say, oh, that money hot. So now they'll follow me in the Gallery Mall. I don't even know they follow me until I come out the restaurant and got this eerie feeling like something ain't right.
Yeah.
And I look to the left and I look to the right. I said, let me walk this way. And when I walk that way, they walk that way. And I'm like, nah, this ain't my imagination. I had smoked some weed and some coke, had drank some Hennessy at that time, but I realized, nah, you ain't that high. Yeah, you ain't that high. Something's happening and it ain't looking good for you. So now I'm like, I'm sweating and everything, so I rolled this way and they on me. So then this one guy walks in and says, excuse me, sir, can I speak to you? I said, nah, you can't speak to me. Knocks his hand away.
Yeah.
As I go there, he goes to grab me and I push him down, boom. They converge on me, man, bum rush me.
From all areas.
Yeah. You know, it was crazy. They testified in court. They thought I was on PCP. They said they had never seen nobody about 190 pounds that strong.
Right.
But I wasn't trying to come in. I'm going to keep it 100. You know what I mean? But they end up choking me out. They handcuffed me, which I still have these marks that it cut into my skin. And this is like 30 some years ago. And this is always a reminder of that particular day. But they ended up choking me out, and that's how they got me. And I went in and did them 10 years and came home.
Another Fed charge.
Yeah, all my cases have always been Fed.
Oh, okay, you a club Fed boy.
I said if I was going to do it, I got to do it with the big boys.
I hear that. So why? And that's crazy, right? Because people always saying like, yeah, Fed, I did Fed time and all that. Why is Fed older than prison? Like
the Fed stigma has always been that it's a better quality of life. And if you're going to do time, they say you're going to do it in Feds. Everything is a lot better than most states. Now there are some states that can rival some of the Fed places. As far as like some states joints got games. They used to play which I never played, not Nintendo, but what's the
Tetris, stuff like
what's
that.
the little video games and all that? No, the video games, PlayStation and all that. Yeah. I don't play it neither. Yeah. But some places had that. You could have that. Like I think upstate New York and some places like that. Then they get clothing packages and stuff like that.
Right.
But when it was crazy because on my first bid I was in Raybrook and we was wearing our own clothes. Oh yeah, I was polo up back in the 80s, you know what I mean, and sheepskin and all that type stuff.
Y'all walking around there
like
home.
Yeah, we going to visit with gators on our feet. You got prison pants on, what you wearing gators? You know what I mean? Yeah, you know what I mean? So it was that type of life, you know what I mean?
Right.
And I was around some serious guys, man, at that time. And then as things changed, the aspect of what the Feds what it used to be changed. Yeah. Because what happened is when the war on drugs came, they started taking all the crack cases. They started taking all the gun cases that normally would be in the state.
Okay.
So now the Fed's population went from 500 to 1,000, from 1,000 to 1,300. So now when you increasing it, but not increasing the budget, it's got to be some cuts.
Yeah.
So now we went away from having the steaks on Labor Day and all that, and might have shrimp and different things of that nature, ice cream machines and all that type of stuff, to like, they scaled that thing all the way back. We went from having a pint of eggnog to a quart of eggnog to a cup of eggnog for Christmas.
Yeah.
That's how it changed.
I see.
Yeah.
You was there. You seen all that.
That's how it changed, you know. So you just watched how everything changed. We watched certain rooms where they went from 2 men to 3 men in some of the rooms.
Yeah.
You just could see, you know, they used to have, even though you may think this is minute, they used to have toilet paper. You go in their office, give me 3 or 4 rolls at will. Envelopes, paper. Now you had to pay for all that. You know, they were giving you a certain amount of rolls per week, and most people was buying toilet paper from commissary because you was going to run out.
So how was it though? So the first 2 years was cakewalk. That was cake. They loved you, they
easy.
liked you, and then you in and out.
Didn't feel it. Didn't feel the bit.
The second year you did a 10-year stretch.
Felt the bit, but it wasn't a knockout in my head.
Really?
The 10 years hurt. That was the longest 10 years I'd ever done in my life, right? But it didn't take the taste out of my mouth where I would dibble back in the streets.
So you said, I still want to go out there and get high?
And that was the worst thing. Well, I wasn't getting high. I thank God. Because like I said, I was lifting weights back then. So I stopped getting high.
Oh, you was like...
I was just on a money mission.
Got you.
Yeah, it wasn't about the money. Yeah, it's about me getting that paper.
Yeah.
And because then I come home, it's 95. I'm off the east side. Brucey and all them up in with the Lexus and the Benzes, all them, LB and all them back in the day. Yeah. And I'm looking at these young boys that were young boys when I was home.
Right.
And I'm feeling out of place. But this is the ego, this is the arrogance, this is a bunch of old nonsense that's in my brain. And I'm like, I gotta get back on my feet, man.
So you come home like, I gotta catch up.
I gotta get my money, I get my weight back up.
Yeah.
And so I was like,
what's happening.
Yeah.
You really getting money around here.
And it was crazy because the young brothers had extended a hand like, yo, why don't you get with us? And I was like, nah, I ain't with y'all because I don't roll with y'all like that. I'm not a follower like that. But they knew my muscle game. Okay. So that's what they wanted me for, but I ain't nobody's bodyguard.
Right,
I'm my own man. I'm my own work. Yeah, I don't do no work for nobody else. Right. And I'm thankful because probably had I stayed, I probably would have had life with them brothers. Or dead.
Right.
You know what I mean? Because, unfortunately, them brothers got life.
Gotcha.
So I ended up doing my own thing, and I knew had some guys, some contacts out of Feds that I ended up getting with. Okay. And I did a few moves here and there. Back in the streets, like I said, and dudes set me up. And like I said, I just realized that I wasn't going back to prison.
Got you.
And I was like, boom, boom, and I'm having the hostage, and boom, 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 and they lit me up, hit me 5 times.
Wow. So, what was it like? Because you spent most of your years on earth in jail, right?
Majority of my adult life, 36. I'm 58. I turned 58 years. 58 last Saturday, April 10th, and I spent over 36 years of my life incarcerated. I got more time incarcerated than I got on the street as an adult, sad to say.
Yeah, so how was it operating in jail with your legs, and then now doing a 23-year stretch in a chair. What was
It
that?
definitely was a challenge. It definitely was taxing. I mean, I just thank Allah, God, for giving me the strength and making me a strong brother, man. Because I met a lot of brothers in the wheelchair who had basically given up on life. I had some brothers who basically wasn't taking showers no more. They didn't care how they looked and everything. And I'm gonna tell you right now, I'm a very clean brother. If you know Atlanta, if you know Ali, I like to stay fly, smell good, and I ain't buying nothing cheap. You know what I mean? So I still got a little that arrogance. But the reality is, man, I still love me.
Yeah.
And I wasn't gonna allow this to rob me from who I am, because I just can't walk. I'm the same brother, just a little bit more intelligent, just thinking different, but I'm the same person that just can't walk.
Yeah.
So I just take care of myself, and I realized that being a paraplegic, man, you have to take care of yourself, or there can be some serious consequences like bed sores and things of that nature. It's a lot that goes with this life, Kenny.
Yeah.
But I fight every day, man. I push, man. You know what I mean? Because I won't let this hold me down.
Right.
And what I always try to share with the young brothers and sisters out there is, you know, life is full of obstacles, ups and downs. You know, we have the moments.
Right.
But don't stay down. Get up.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Get up.
Right.
You know, we all get knocked down at some point in life, but just get up.
Right.
Because when you get up, you get the chance to fight again.
Right.
But this time, fight for your life, fight for yourself. You know what I mean? Put the things that you didn't take for serious enough. Prioritize your stuff.
That's right.
Prioritize your life.
That's right.
Because we prioritize so much other nonsense.
Absolutely.
You know, we don't prioritize the good things.
That's right.
You know, family structure, working, putting your stuff in a financial way of having some type of life where you don't struggle, man.
That's right.
You know, and yeah. So I just realized that I was a fighter, and I thank God for that, and that I wanted to be a better man and better person. And I had, at the time, my daughter's mother was pregnant with her. When I was shot in 1995, yes.
Oh,
my daughter actually turns 25 the end of this month. And I wrote my daughter a letter once a week for 23 straight years. She's got garbage bags in my letters. And it's crazy. We were in a halfway house, and my daughter came to see me. I was there, I got there in July. She got there like 2 weeks later. So it was like the 1st of August. And my daughter was crying. I was like, yo, what you crying for? And she said, Daddy, this is the first time I never seen you behind a wall, behind a glass, but in the free world.
Wow.
She said, I done prayed for this day all my life. So I said it to say that you never know the effect and how you affect others.
Yeah.
And I didn't really realize the deepness of that with my daughter, because a lot of times we take life for granted.
Right.
We don't even think about things like that.
Yeah.
And man, it just brought everything into perspective. Like, whoa, she said, I'm so proud of you. And she tells me right now, for everything that I do now, she's just so proud of me. She said, because everything you've been through, you fought and you fight, and look at you still shine. I said, that's my baby there.
Right.
Yeah, that's my boo. You know what I mean? That's my boo there. You know what I mean?
Right.
But I'm blessed just to have that one beautiful child, and she's beautiful. She lives in Connecticut. And I'm just proud to be able to let her be proud of her father.
Right.
Because that's one of the greatest things of a child can have for the parents, to be proud of your parents.
Right.
Not be disgusted about your parents. And she didn't allow that to happen.
Well,
Well, she could have held that against me.
that's right.
And I give her mom's props.
Yeah.
Even though me and her moms, we may not saw eye to eye on many issues,
Right.
but she kept my daughter in my life, and I always thank her for that.
Yeah, that's good. That's
that was a
strong.
blessing right there.
Yeah, that's good.
Yeah,
right
that was a
there.
blessing.
I talked about that on a few shows of understanding that it's important that you co-parent, and it's always about the kid, not about that romantic part, right? Because
Right.
people, men and women, they get caught up in the, well, I don't love you, I don't want to be with you, right? But I just want to raise my kid, and then that individual who is hurt or who doesn't agree with that, in return is saying, I'm gonna keep your kid away from you. You know what I mean? Because you don't care for me
Right.
like you care for your child. When it's different, right? This is romantic, that's dead, and that's my kid. You know what I mean? So that came from me.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? That came from my genes. You feel me? So we talk about that. So that's big ups.
And that's crazy that you should say that, because I met so many young brothers and men, period, that were struggling with that in prison. Like the relationship with the baby's mom didn't work.
Right.
So they're like, man, I ain't really right with my kids and all. And I'm looking at them like, yo, what's wrong with you, man? Where's your mind at, brother? That's yours. That kid is innocent.
Yeah.
You know, don't let that relationship that you had with the child's mother play a role in your relationship, because at the end of the day, they're going to hold that against you.
Absolutely.
You best believe it, because they want to know what. Listen, children, especially when they're young, the letter meant so much to my daughter. It was like presents.
Right.
My father sending a picture. You understand what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And because of the consistency,
Yeah.
and I'm like dropping jewels. Like me and my daughter talk about gentrification. We have some deep conversation. I help shape the woman that she is.
Right, just by those letters.
And remember this: any man that has a daughter, that's the first love of her life. That she sees her father, that man in him. So if we can't be productive or have that positive, then there's a chance that she may start grabbing and pulling some other dudes that you really don't want. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
And
absolutely.
it's not a perfect world, don't get me wrong.
Yeah.
But it plays a serious role. And me and my daughter talk about it. She said, I always thought about guys that I mess with, they got to be strong like you. And I'm like, so I'm saying, like, you mean strong like me? And she said, no, not on a criminal tip, but I need them to be strong like you. And I'm like, that's how you think.
Mentally.
Yes.
Yeah, mentally.
Yeah.
That's great.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
So, okay, I will fast forward now. You did your time in jail. Obviously, it was a struggle, but being mentally strong, you know what I mean? And keeping your mind sharp, you made it through those 23. What was that like just leading up until, because I'll say this, how did it feel when you got to 23? When they told you, man, it's 23, and you woke up like, damn, I'm in this chair, I got 23 years.
Man, listen, I'm going to tell you, Kenny, it's a wonder I wasn't cuckoo for Cocoa Pops. I'm dead serious, man, because I had did the 10 years and that had kicked my butt.
Right.
So now I'm sitting in a wheelchair, facing life, and thank God I didn't get it.
And why didn't you get it?
Well, they found out the dude was a confidential informant. They didn't disclose the information. My judge, it was a lot of whack stuff on my case,
okay, like how
and I got a blessing from a judge.
Right.
And she said, Mr. Foreman, it's quite evident that you're very intelligent. She said, I don't like the way some of these things in this case have went down. She says, but I believe sentence you to life when you're in a wheelchair would be like double life. She said, because you're in the wheelchair for your rest of life. She said, I think that's life enough. And I sure was thankful for that judge, man. Sue Robinson, I always give a shout out. And you know what's crazy? I used to write her letters because I got involved in a lot of programs about 5 years later, from around 2000. I got involved in a program where we called ROPE, Reaching Out to Provide Enlightenment, where we used to talk to at-risk kids that used to come into the prison. And it wasn't like scared, straight screaming and hollering, because that's played out.
Yeah.
You got to be respectful to these young men and young women. And we just try to show them, use our poor choices and help steer them. Well, anyway, there was a newspaper article done on me, and they put my picture in the Brixton Journal, whatever it's called.
Okay.
And
so what, you was in Connecticut at the time?
No, I was in Farrington, New Jersey.
Oh, Bridgeton.
Yeah, Brixton, Millville, right near Millville.
I know where that's at.
Yes.
Isn't there Bridgeton in Connecticut too, though?
Yeah, no, it's called.
All right. Yeah, I know.
It's something that's similar to that. But
Bridgeport,
yeah,
okay.
right near
All
New
right.
Haven, matter of fact.
Yeah, all right.
All right, so I sent her a copy of that in a letter saying, thank you for not giving me life. I said, because you give me an opportunity to do something in my life, and this is what I've been doing. And she responded to my letter like, boom, she said, I'm going to forward this to your PO. And then there was other articles and stuff, and I used to always send them to her like that.
Yeah.
And she said, it's crazy, she said, because I'm always used to people asking me for things. She said, you're the first person that I've sentenced that just shares this information with me and is doing good and is not asking me for anything.
You ain't asking me for
nothing. I ain't asking you nothing. And it was just crazy, but I just thought it was the right thing to do because I was letting her know that you didn't make a wrong call with me. Huh. And I told her, I said, and just maybe you can use me the same way that you use me as an example, you can use me as an example for others and maybe give somebody else a chance.
Oh, wow.
Because I just thought that was right because she gave me a chance
right.
when she could have gave me life easily. With my record and burners, I've been got robbery since I've been 15 years old.
Oh, you was just running up a
I was a nutcase as a youngster. And I never understood how I went from being a basketball star to being just a nutcase. But like I'm saying, poor decisions, that's all it takes. Peer pressure, you know me, trying to be something you're not, it's you know me, it can lead to that.
Yeah, so okay, cool. So, but okay, you was cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs, right? You make it through this bid or it gets close to your end, right? So for you, when did you start counting down your time? Was it after you did the 10, 15? Or was it like
I used to do my bit in fives. Okay. 5 year five, because 20 was kind of far down the road. Yeah. I couldn't even see 20. Listen, I thought about 1995. I said, how am I gonna get out in 2013? Which I ended up getting out in 2018. That's another story. So I'm like, I can't see 2000 nothing, even though it was 95.
Right, yeah.
It was the longest 2000 that I thought in my mind. But anyway, So I used to do it in the 5s. And after I got my first 5 year, I'm like, damn, I still got 15 years left. Good God. So then I got to my 10 year.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I feel a little better, but man, I still got 10 years left. And when I got to 15, then I was feeling myself a little bit more. I'm like, damn, though, you done got to 15, you got 5 more of these joints.
And you all right, yeah.
Feel a lot, but now here's a problem. You're a little bit antsy because you closer rather.
Yeah.
So I stayed busy as I did in the time. I always was involved in learning things. Took mentoring programs. Became a facilitator. I was a suicide companion. A lot of programs and things I did. I was a gang relations person on the compound.
Use your time wisely.
I tried to. And it's crazy because when I got down to my last 24 months, I had a partner there, and we were getting out in the summertime. We're like, yo, and I had did more time, but he said, like, yo, you can walk this joint down. And I'm like, yo, I got 21 years in now. That's crazy. He said, man, we got 2 years left. We getting out of here, Lean.
Right.
And I'm like, but now it's really crazy because you're really antsy because that's the closest I had been.
Yeah.
So we knocked that 1 year out, and I never forget, it was New Year's. I said, boy, we got that thing down. We got 12 months. Let's work this thing. And then I said, the halfway way was when I'm going to really feel it.
Yeah.
So after, New Year's and everything, I got that halfway down. I'm like, damn, I'm on the yard, listening to my music and relaxing by myself. I'm like, yo, you're getting close. And so it just kept moving. And then, like, you can hear with my parents, like, well, you ready to come home. But now I'm like, yeah, I'm ready to come home, but what I'm going to do now? Because I'm coming home in a wheelchair. Right. That's a whole nother ball game.
Yeah, you done learn how to
because it's night and day.
Yeah.
I mean, just moving around in a wheelchair in society on these sidewalks is crazy. Like, because everything was basically paved and then I had to go curbs and all that.
Yeah.
I'm going from this unit to that, to the mess hall, to the yard. Basic stuff. Yeah. But now I'm worried about cars hitting me, crossing the streets, payments terrible, how not being wheelchair. There's a lot of things with this life, man. But you know what? You see me, baby. I'm shining. I'm a fighter.
Yeah, you damn right.
I'm a fighter.
Yeah,
I'm a fighter. Yeah. So, you learn how to adapt. Yeah. I mean, that's one of the things that I'm blessed to be, that I adapt to my conditions, my circumstances, and you adapt to life.
Yeah.
And that's what we all have to do, learn how to adapt to things.
So what happened? You were supposed to get out in 13. And
My date, now I'm going to show you how funny life is. My plea agreement was that I would do 20 years. So if I got out in 2013, I wouldn't actually have done 20 years. I would have had like 18 years in.
Yeah.
So what happens is I was under what they call the old law for the armored truck from the 80s, which when we had parole.
Yeah.
So I had this detainer sitting there that I had been sending letters to the parole commission. They was like flushing it down the toilet, like beat it. And I'm like trying to get it off.
Yeah, you trying to get up out
of it. But I'm going to show you how God works. God knew that he didn't want to send me to the state. He wanted me to stay in the feds where I would be better taken care of and have the things that I needed. So he laid me down. I didn't understand it at the time. So I go to parole board. They give me a date. They said, listen, as soon as they get your paperwork, you go on the halfway house. But I knew I had to go to the state.
Yeah.
So I'm like, all right, bet. So I'm waiting for my paperwork to come back 30 days. It comes back. I never forget, I'm in the shower. And I hear my case manager, my foreman. I'm like, yo, I'm in the shower. He's like, what's up? He said, your notice of action came back. That's what it's called in the feds. I said, yeah, what'd it say? He said, you might want to come see me. I said, might want to come see you? Man, I jumped up that joint. I got soap still on me because now I'm a little, I'm trying to find out what's happening.
Yeah.
I dips. Man, I get up in there and read that notice of action. They said, I never forget, this is a notwithstanding Mr. Foreman's present condition. We believe that releasing him on parole would be a disrespect to the law enforcement agencies. We believe that Mr. Foreman will continue to be violent and still rob from the wheelchair.
Dang. Oh, you was active. You was real active.
They said, so therefore we are denying him parole, and we believe the prudent thing is to continue him to the expiration of his old law sentence, which was another 6 years. Do you know I almost fell out the wheelchair?
What?
Mentally?
Yeah.
Because now I went from that to 6 years. I'm like, 6 years? But me being a little thinker, I'm back. I took the parole board to court. You can look me up. United States of America versus Orlando Foreman Parole Commission.
No, you was one of those guys.
I said that they abused their power because I was already serving a sentence that they were convict me of.
Yeah.
So to give me a 6 year hit was above and beyond.
Yeah.
Of course, they didn't agree with me. Although the problem is that in the feds, there's nobody that oversees the parole commission. They have a free way to do what they want to do.
Oh.
So I just got jerked.
So they
with
spanked
that.
a lot of cats with that then.
Yeah. So what I did is, so now under the old law, I'm getting to thinking. I said, well, wait a minute. We used to get good time, extramarital good time. And I was telling them to put me in the extramarital good time, even though I was doing the new law sentence, which it wouldn't affect. But something just told me, put it in because I knew I had that detainer there.
Yeah.
Didn't know if I was going to use it. And the only way that you can use it, if you do the expiration of your sentence, which is 2/3.
Right.
Right? So I'm glad I thought about that. So one day, I never forget this, I'm in my case manager's office and I said, yo, I got my papers, but I don't see the good time that they gave me. And he said, yeah, I remember Shockley putting you in for Foreman, and we had just got this new case manager. Unit manager rather. And she said, it's funny you should say that. She said, because I just got a letter from from Central, and they want to know why you're not showing up with marital good time. She said, because you don't have any shots or anything. And she said, you're definitely not a problem. I said, yeah, well, that makes two of us agree with that. She says, give me the particulars. So I run to get my paperwork. I put everything down. I'm thinking I'm going to get like 3 months. Man, my paperwork came back. She got me 11 months. That's damn near a year. So that 6 year became 5 years. So that's how I got in 218. I was supposed to come home in 219.
Yeah.
I got my case down to 218. So now I tell my case manager, sign me back up to parole commission. I'm going to see them because we got something called, now I'm stuck, superior programming.
Yeah.
And because I was a suicide companion and all them programs that I did, you can get extra good time. Right. So I went there, they gave me 4 more months, which ended up putting me out in 218. So I basically knocked 15 months off of that 6-year sentence. And that's how I came home. Dude said, you a bad mood. I said, you gotta think of the box.
Yeah.
Shit, the same way that they take it from you, that if I got something coming, I want it.
Yeah.
And so, but I was blessed to get that, man. So that's how I came home in 218.
Wow, okay.
So it came up to a total of 23 years.
How has life been from, because now you comparing, I guess, freaking apples to not even oranges, like, you know what I mean? Yeah. To some shit all the way outside the box, like apples in the tree. Because you about jail, we spent most of your years, adult years, childhood years. Now, just turning 58 and you've been home, what, a few years now?
Yeah, so, July will mark 3 years actually.
How was that?
Beautiful.
Like, yeah.
Beautiful. And I say it again, beautiful.
Right.
Because this is the first time in my life, Kenny, that I actually respect my freedom.
Now, why do you respect it? Is it because you're in a wheelchair?
I respect, I won't discount my wheelchair because I believe this. Had I not been shot and paralyzed, I'm not necessarily sure I would be the man that I am today as far as thinking. Okay. Or how I feel about my community or how I like to interact with my community. I'm not so sure where I would have stood that way.
Right, yeah.
I know that I would have been a different person, but I don't really know.
How much difference?
That is the question. Yeah. But I do know because of this wheelchair humbled me.
Okay.
And it allowed me to see life from a different perspective. And it allowed me to want to integrate in life in a different way. And I was blessed to meet brothers like you and Brian and Miss Priscilla and Project New Store,
right,
which helped launch my career and life in the direction that I didn't know where it was going. And it really allow me to see life and things in life on a different level that I had never paid attention to.
Gotcha.
And that's what I tell somebody about Project New Start all the time. Like, it's out the box, but it's out the box that puts you back in the box of life. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? It gives you tools that you just didn't really know how to utilize them. Mm-hmm. It allows you to think different. Because a lot of us, when you get used to things, we're afraid of change.
Absolutely.
And that's the worst thing that humans can do is be scared of change, And when you find out and give yourself an opportunity to do something different, you'd be surprised at those results.
That's right.
And that's what I was able to do, give myself a chance. Being in Project New Store put me on a platform of meeting other people who were able to play a role in my life to get me to where I'm at today. Now, it hasn't always been smooth for me, don't get it wrong.
Right.
I've had my ups and downs, but I take it with a grain of salt because it's been a blessing. Because I'm working in human services now. Mm-hmm. And since I've been home, I was in reentry. I worked for the Bridge Clinic. I worked on a van that we used to sit in front of the prison for guys being released and give them tools and sign them up for Medicaid and things of that nature. I work for Horizon House right now at this particular moment, mental health. So I've met a lot of people, and the beauty of this, Kenny, has been that I've seen the effect that I've played on so many other people's lives, from the smallest things to maybe something large. But we ain't gonna worry about the large, we're gonna talk about the smallest things of just giving a person a cup of coffee, allowing somebody to take a shower, and them saying, thank you, man, I really appreciate that. Like, that's like the home run right there, home run of life.
Right.
You know what I mean? And so I'm thankful that my life has evolved to that. I'm thankful that I see life on a mature level. I finally grew up.
Gotcha.
You know, because that's when I think one of the things hurt us. A lot of us, we call ourselves men, but we don't really mature, and we don't understand what maturity really is.
So when did you understand what it was and how to get to that next step?
I think when them 5 bullets was in me in 1995, when I had to wake up and realize I had to stop feeling sorry for myself, I really realized that I had to grow mentally. And if I was going to be successful in whatever it was I was going to do, I had to start thinking different.
Yeah.
I couldn't think like a criminal more. I had to think like somebody on the outside who was trying to do something with their life. You know, and that's when the process began. And like I said, I really didn't have any directions. I knew that I wanted to go that way, but I didn't know what that way entailed.
Gotcha. You just know you kept going.
Yeah, I know I wasn't going that way no more. Yeah, because I've been that way too all my life, and look what it led me to. Nothing.
Right. Yeah.
You know, and that's what I tell a lot of young brothers and sisters that's coming home, like, yo, ain't you tired of that?
Right.
Like, there's something else to life, and this ain't it. You know, I had brothers when I come home, man, you know, listen, get a package for you, yo. You know, I got the weed connect, yo. We know how you are with the streets. And I said, man, if you don't get away from me with that nonsense, that ain't my life.
You
no
back
more.
in the game.
Yeah, I ain't in that game. I'm in the game of life, not that life you was in.
Yeah.
I'm in the game of staying out life.
Yeah.
Yeah, you can have that life. I don't need the Benzes and all that and the flies thing. You know, I'm still doing all right.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But I'm all right with that because, man, there is no price to your freedom. I used to hear OGs talk about that, and I didn't understand it in my first bit. Listen, man, ain't no price on your freedom. And I would hear it, and I'm like, yeah, ain't catch on. 2 years later, and I understood
36 years later
what that means. There is no price to your freedom, man. You know, you can't put a price on it, man.
Hey, you heard that from Orlando Foreman, aka Aleem, that there's no price on your freedom. And then he always told you, double down on yourself, continue to go hard. But hey, as we always say on this show, challenge yourself, do something about it. So back to that, man, like, being home is beautiful. You're here, you're not incarcerated in jail. Now you're home. Do you pick up where you left off? Like, where's that high school sweetheart? Where was that chick that's always been down for me in my corner? Or do you like pick up and just like, bam, like how you start fresh on that tip? Like,
I don't think you can ever pick up from something that traumatic in your life. I think you have to move on. And if some of those parts happen to be a part of your moving on, then that's cool. Usually they're not a part of it. Like, I went through so many people in and out of my life in them 23 years of letter writing, of females I met used to come see me.
Right.
It was like the revolving door of the prison, actually.
yeah, okay.
You know what I mean? You find out who your true friends are. Now I'm gonna say this about the true friend thing. Before, when I thought about true friends was somebody that was sending me money, somebody was sending me pictures, somebody was coming to see me, somebody was going to see my parents from time to time.
Right.
But then I came home and I was in the company of some of my old true friends, and I had some conversations with them, and they said, man, I didn't know what to say to you. I didn't know what to do. It was a lot of times I wanted to write you, you know what I mean? And I got letters that I started, never finished. He said, I ain't making no excuses, man. He said, but I thought about you so much. And at that moment, you realize that everybody, just like I tell guys about snitching, everybody ain't built for this thing.
Right.
You know, like, snitching is the worst thing if you're a criminal. That, you know, we despise snitching. But everybody ain't built to do time. I don't care what they into, how they portray themselves. They ain't built to do time.
Right.
It's a handful of dudes that will hold that thing sacred like I ain't ratting.
Yeah.
But that other crew, when you talking about 20, 30, 40 life, they ain't trying to be in prison like that.
Yeah.
And if we always talking about the street level is about survival, then that's their version of survival. They ain't trying to go to prison.
Right.
I'm keeping it real, and it took me years to really understand that. Now, I say this to say that I always say, well, if you ain't built like that, then stay out the game. But it just don't work that way because there's always a bunch of people in the game, and you know what I mean, and not built like that. But don't be surprised when that person, if he flips the script on you, you know, like, because they're trying to save their ass.
Right.
You know what I mean? The same way you was on the street trying to save yourself.
Right.
You know what I mean? That's the other side of it. Like I said, it took me, and I had a friend, and I won't say his name, but guy ratted on me in a case. And
on
when
what
I,
case? Is
on
that
my
year?
no, this was actually, I had one state case, but right before I caught my first federal bank robbery case, right? And he ratted on the case, and with my cousin Latif that I was telling you about.
So this was in New York now?
No, this was in Delaware, actually.
Oh,
yeah.
Latif came to Delaware.
Yeah, he came to Delaware. He was robbing banks in New York. He came down here and started robbing banks. My first bank robbery, I was a driver. I never forget that for him.
Okay.
Around the corner, waiting for him, see him running around, coming like this. I had the door wide open for him, and I just crept into the thing, took him to Philadelphia train station. He gave me my money, and when I went to the car wash, he got the car wash and went shopping. Just like it wasn't nothing.
How much he give you?
Man, I got a little punk $1,200 in my first
That's it?
driving.
Wow.
I got chumped on my first day. Yeah, I'm just a driver, right? But you learn these little lessons. I was green at the time.
Yeah.
But anyway, the brother told on me, and I wanted to kill him. And Latif like, you can't kill this dude, man. That was your man. I said, no witness. We can't be convicted.
Right.
My cousin wasn't going for it. Like, nah, man. So anyway, he had started robbing black, and at the time he was smoking coke. That's when it was freebasing.
Okay.
So that's Latif.
Okay.
And that's really when he was robbing the banks real crazy, where he was coming down there and robbing it. So he ended up getting busted. He pled out, took that case that we had. He pled out to it. So I ended up pleading to a lesser charge than that. But the point I'm saying is, this dude used to write me letters once in a blue moon. And I'd be sitting there. Yeah, and I'd sit there and get it like this and look at it and throw it in the corner.
What would he say though?
What's up? I might send me some pictures. Boom, boom, boom. Like nothing had happened.
Like he didn't tell on you?
Yeah. And I used to be like, I never wrote him back.
And he literally said in court and testified like that.
Yeah.
Right there.
Yeah. Well, we didn't actually go to trial.
Oh,
he just made statements.
And the paperwork.
Yeah, he made.
The paperwork.
So, and it was times this dude still came to my mom's house when I caught my first kid. I used to call home, and she say, I almost said his name over here, and I'm like, I ain't want to talk to him. I said, I can't believe y'all got this dude in the house. They told. And my mom, everybody know Mom, Miss Helen on the east side. My mom love everybody. Boy, that boy, blah. And I'm like, Mom, I ain't trying to hear that shit. It's one few times I cuss my mom. I ain't trying to hear that shit.
Yeah.
Because I'm hardcore at that time. Like, I ain't trying to hear that shit, Mom.
Maybe he knew, like, he trying to play it cool because he knew you were killing.
Maybe, I don't know. But it's a possibility. However, it took me years later just to realize that everybody isn't built like that. And I seen from time to time, I still have some resentment there. But I don't hold the same resentment that I had back then.
Right.
Because I just realized you was a bitch nigga. Right. Yeah. You was running here fake with all your muscle and that, but you was a bitch.
Yeah.
You wasn't built that way.
Right.
And it's crazy because dudes that knew me used to always see me and say, yo, I seen your man, blah, blah, blah. We always knew he wasn't built like you. But I looked up to the brother.
Wow.
Because I always thought that he was from Riverside. That's what I'm saying. He was from Riverside.
Man, what's his name?
CJ. I'm just going to leave it at that.
We're going to find out who it is.
But anybody that know me know who CJ is.
What? You older.
Yeah.
I'm younger.
Yeah.
I don't know who CJ is.
His name was Calvin Jones.
Calvin
Yeah,
Jones.
he had a brother named Ernie and all them from Riverside back in the day. But they moved back on the east side. But CJ, he used to do little DJing and stuff back then. Dark skin, looked like me. Could be my brother. That's how close we looked. Was big and stocky and everything. But I just realized that he wasn't built that way, you know what I mean? So I don't hold that against him now the way I used to.
And then it was only 2 years.
Yeah.
Because you do 2 years like this any day, you know what I mean?
Well,
doing 10 and then 23, you know what I mean?
Yeah, so I just realized that. But I just say that to say, don't be surprised when your boys, who you think was your boys, flip on you. Because they trying to save their ass.
Think about that
you know what I mean?
You do something crazy out here.
That's the reality of it.
Yeah, when you with your bro, your day one, your A1, you know what I mean? Brody, my man, you know what I'm saying? I love him though. That's like my brother. That is my brother. That nigga will tell on you. So don't even do it.
Yeah, families them told on each other, so somebody else will tell on you.
Yeah, absolutely.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But back to your question, Brother Kenny. So it was a lot starting from scratch. After 23 years, I had to come home. Imagine this. You come home after 23 years, you're in a wheelchair, You don't know where you're going to live, but I was going in the halfway house at the time. Only clothes you got is the clothes was on your back. Now I had a few dollars, thank God.
All right.
So when I got my little pass, I was able to go to the store, buy me a little of this, buy me a little of that, you know what I mean? Yeah. And then when word got out, a few dudes would come and pass out, yo, drop my clothes off. Yeah. And so I was getting blessed, and then I wasn't really going anywhere, so I could slow roll it, like slowly get my stuff together, because I'm in a halfway house. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? So I was able to build my wardrobe back up slowly and everything. And like I said, guys was paying me homage and everything, and a few brothers blessed me, and one particular cousin that looked out for me, my man. So they make that part good for me, and so I was able to just try to learn how to navigate back in society. You know what I mean? And I've always kind of been a loner. And I'm still a loner to this day. So it just was a different thing. There were new people in my life, as far as females and other people as well. Yeah. I met good brothers like you and Brian. Right. Y'all like my brothers, you know what I'm saying? Right. And it's crazy. You just never know who you meet at what point in your life and the point they play in your life. Yeah. And I always sit back sometime when I'm chilling, I always think about that day when y'all came to the halfway house and gave y'all presentation. It was crazy because I'm sitting there listening. I said, where do I know that name, Project New Start?
Yeah, you said something.
And I said, excuse me. I said, and the first thing Brian said, you Orlando? I said, yeah, that's me. And they're like, now we know. I'm like, wow. And from then, we've been like this. Like a cold brotherhood, man. Them brothers embraced me. Y'all gave me the game, man. Y'all stayed in my ear. Y'all were very, y'all played major roles in the direction that I took. And you definitely hands-on with employment. I remember when we was graduation, come on, we on the computer, getting resumes out. Now we're going to change this, doing this and all that. The phone calls and everything, man, that played a role making sure that the maintenance. Because, we don't realize that you need maintenance when you get out of prison. Yeah. I never thought of it that way before. Right. That maintenance is mental. You need that person in your ear. Yo, you doing all right? Everything good? Yes, sir. Because it's easy to fall to the left. Absolutely. It's easy for somebody to push a package on you. Hey, let's get high and all that, and you back out there. Yeah. But you reinforce the principles, the morals, and everything that I went to them 10-week classes. You know what I mean? Coming in the rain and snow. And y'all remember me when I broke my leg, but y'all was still there for me. Yeah. Don't worry about it. We got you. Yeah. And I was like, whoa, because I was afraid of not graduating that class. You remember that? I'm like, man, I ain't come this far not to. And y'all like, Mr. Silva was like, yo, don't worry, we got you. Yeah. And then when I just came back with the cast all on my leg and my legs still there, I'm like, man, we got you, OG. And I was like, Brian, got you, OG. Yeah. And I came back, picked up where I left off from, running my mouth, being the balance for the young brothers and the old heads. But
so where did you get that from though? Because you figure most people get institutionalized. But talking to you, and I'm quite sure for the viewers, is like, ain't no way in hell this dude did 36 years of his life in jail, right? Like, how did you stay mentally sharp, focused, on point? Your vocabulary is just through the roof. It's very extravagant. You know what I mean?
I don't know about through the roof, but
yeah. So how did you?
I just, I read a lot. I mean, I've never been slow.
Okay. Thank God. The slow bus?
Never rode the slow bus. Yeah, never was that. Yeah. No hats on my head, none of that. I did a lot of reading while I was incarcerated, and most of the thorough brothers that you will see do the good reading. Because there's a lot of reading there, a bunch of Donald Goins, a bunch of hood novels. I didn't have time for that.
Got you.
You know what I mean? I read the 48 Laws of Power by Robert Greene, The Art of War. One of my favorite books I read was The Hurricane, 12 Rounds.
Okay.
Oh, a deep book. And then to see the movie, it just took me somewhere else. But I read so many different books. Of course, I read the Quran and everything. But I read so many books, self-help books. I'm trying to remember my man's name. He was from Baltimore. He had did some time. I read his book. I'm stuck right now. But anyway, I read a lot of books. Sister So I even read her books. Coldest Winter Ever and everything. And for that to be a hood book, that's the most realistic hood book that I've read. Because there's so many jewels in that book. So I don't want to act like I never read any hood books. Yeah. But I was selective. But my point is, I tried to stay around good brothers, and I did a lot of reading with good brothers and shared information. And so I'm reading the Wall Street Journal, all the magazines and everything. I'm staying proactive because if you don't put that proper nutrition in here, then what you gonna have? It's like you want to eat cereal, but if you can't pour cereal in that bowl, it's just an empty bowl. So that's how that mind was. If I'm not pouring the right nutrition inside there, then there's nothing inside. And so what I tried to do is I knew that I wanted to be a better person. I knew that I needed to learn other things in life. I knew I had to be open to other things. And, you know, there's an old saying, reading is fundamental. Reading is beautiful, man. A lot of us don't read enough.
Yeah. So that's good. So you said you even read the Quran. When did you get into that?
Well, I became Muslim in 1979, actually.
Before you.
Yeah. I was a Muslim in 79. I wasn't practicing to the level, of course, and many years later, you know what I mean? But I always had a belief, you know, in the law of being God, because there's only one God. Gotcha. It's just the way you serve him.
Okay.
You know what I mean? Basically, you know, it's a lot of people have all these battles about religion and things of that nature, but there's only one God at the end of the day. We all just serve him a little differently.
Gotcha.
You know what I mean? So we should be open to listen to the way people worship, whether you want to believe in it or not. But we should be able to have a conversation.
Gotcha.
You know what I mean? That's one of my most beautiful books I read too. Just funny to say. If you ever get a chance to read Hill Harper's book, The Conversation. A cold book to read.
He got a few books.
He does, but that's a cold book.
Yeah, it wasn't that one, but
yeah, read The Conversation. But The Conversation is more about relationships and things of that nature. But it gives you something to think about.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, but back
kind
to
of like you and your jewels that you be dropping, give you something to think about.
I would hope so. Yeah. Because somebody gave me them jewels as well.
Hey, man,
you know what I mean?
That's what this podcast is about.
Yes.
Right now.
No
you
vouch.
dropped a lot of gems and jewels and diamonds and gold, and hopefully they roll the dice and play it right.
Sharing the knowledge, man. Yeah. Beautiful thing, you know? Absolutely. Sharing the knowledge.
Yeah.
A child can give you a jewel.
Absolutely.
If you just sit back and listen. A lot of us don't listen enough. Yeah. We do too much of this.
Absolutely.
You know, they say if you listen a little bit more, you can do a little bit more. So
I hear that.
That's what they say.
If you listen a little bit more, you would do a little bit more.
That's what they say.
So, in '79, were you in jail when you discovered the
No,
law?
I was in sophomore year in high school.
Okay.
Yeah, playing ball. We on Penn at the time. It was just a mother and Sarge used to come down from Philly with the white garbs on. They used to come past 9th Street, and we used to give them little contributions in the thing. They would give us little the paperwork and stuff like that, and started reading and everything. So I stopped eating pork that year, and then as I started reading, I just realized that I believed in the Islamic aspect of worshiping God opposed to the Christian way that I was raised.
Gotcha.
You know, and there were things that I was like, oh, let me question. You know, things I question now.
Yeah.
You know, why do we call Jesus God?
Right.
And when I read the Bible, he says in there, don't call me a God. He said, for I'm just a son. And things of that nature. So I'm like, you know what I mean? It's a lot of different things.
Yeah.
And the more and more you read, you have a better understanding. But, you know, Islam is beautiful.
Okay, there we go. Well, you heard it from Orlando, a.k.a. Aleem First. You can find him on Facebook, Orlando Foreman. Yes. That's him on there. But we want to thank you guys and girls for tuning in today, right? Once again, it's Kenny Harris. Let's talk about it, right? Any conversation, we're open to any and everything. Real world conversations that'll help you in your situation, in your circumstances, do better than you did yesterday, and always push you forward to strive for more. So like Orlando said, if you listen more, you'll do a little bit more. Once again, challenge yourself, do something about it.